All right. Hey, welcome. Welcome to another broadcast, a live broadcast. So glad to have you guys here. We're going to be starting momentarily, giving people time to get in. And yes, I see your down arrow. Already mad. But that's all right. We're going to get in it today. And I really appreciate all of y'all being here. We got a lot of video clips and stuff that we're going to go through. And we're going to be about the truth. We're going to be about truth. We're going to be about accuracy. And we're going to be about talking about some real solutions today in this broadcast. All right. So if you're not with that, then this ain't the broadcast for you. All right. So we're going to give people about a little over a minute to get in and find themselves somewhere to sit down. And then we're going to go ahead and get started here. OK. All right, about another 30 seconds, and then we'll get started. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Welcome to another broadcast, a live broadcast. So glad that you guys can join us today. And we're going to hit another very important topic. And yes, it's another one of these, that involves the gun and somebody senselessly losing their lives and all of that again. And, if you've been following us, we really try our best to look at it when these stories come up. First of all, I try to avoid them because, a lot of people jump on them and they're just all over the place, and it's at a height of emotion. And so people are saying a lot of crazy things that they're not thinking themselves, they're not hearing it out. And so I try to back down a little bit and just kind of let that relief pipe kind of let loose a little bit. And then, I try to use it as an opportunity, that's something that we can learn from, so that we can learn from the situation and move forward. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so that's kind of, how we're going to approach this today. OK, so a couple of things before we get started here. Big shout out to everybody that took part in our recent AI artwork class over on at Saba University. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun, and we were just giving over just the basics. And the good news is that even if you missed the class, it's still available over on our website, Sambatree. Just go to sambatree.com. And if you go to Saba University, the classes are right here. So we also have a chat GPT for grown folks. We have that one. You get a free 78-page book along with that class, and it's 2-hour long class. And as soon as you pay for it, you immediately get access to it, and you can watch it at any time. It's the classroom that goes with you. So even if you're traveling or whatever, you can still take this class. It's only, like I said, it's a 2-hour class. But when I tell you, we try to pack as much info in that class as possible. You need to join it. OK. And then we have, for those of you who are interested in doing AI artwork, we have a class for you as well. That's a 101. Once again, pack a ton of information in that as well. And so you can access that now. That's on demand, and you can access that. And I really try to go through a lot of stuff, even teaching you how to look at things as a photographer, and and from different angles and all that stuff. So you can look at it, check it out, and then and like I said, it's available right now. All right. And then lastly, as far as Samba University is concerned, we have up and coming this week the Big Black Book of AI Prompts, where I basically go through just a ton of different areas pertaining to us as so-called Black folks, of prompts that we can use for all types of things. Starting a business, getting into arts, and or rather getting into sciences and technology, building your own business, building a homeschool, putting together food plans, going on, arranging, I feel a sneeze coming up. There you go. Putting together vacations that center on learning about your history, how to put together a family reunion. Man, it's just endless, the amount of stuff that I'm packing in this book. It's on pre-order right now. It's $19.99, and that will be released. I'm shooting for by the end of this week. That book will be released, and you'll be able to get that as well. Okay, so just wanted to mention that. And while you're at Samba Tree, make sure you check out Samba Tree. We are about 100% health and wellness. Everything we're talking about here on this page, everything that we're talking about here, it's about getting back to prioritizing our health and wellness as individuals. And this is very, very, very important. Very important. I'm trying to get there you go. Hey, block some of that stuff out. Health and wellness. So we're not here just simply talking about, these problems and all that other stuff. I'm always leading you back to why it is important for you to prioritize your health and your wellness. All right. And so, yeah, we sell products, but it's more than that. We also talk about it. We do videos on these topics, and, the different herbs and stuff. I built tools so that free tools that you can use to help, where you can start incorporating some of this stuff in your daily lives, get questions answered, a lot quicker and all of that. So we built things to try to solve a lot of these issues out here. I told you one of my goals in life is to depopulate hospitals. That is one of my long-term goals, is to depopulate hospitals, get Black folks out of there where we're treating ourselves, number one. Number two, to also, do that, eliminate the diabetes and the high blood pressure rate amongst Black folks. That's the other thing. I want to be a contributor to eliminating high blood pressure and diabetes amongst Black folks. I know that's a tall order, but it's a tall issue, and it's going to take a tall dreamer to do it. And we need to do that, and it needs to be a focus. And yes, it is something that can become a reality for real. But you got to start with being intentional, being purposeful, and putting together a real plan. And so that's what we try to do here over at Samba Tree. And like we always say, we would love for you to purchase things here. But if you see something that, is here and you're like, hey, listen, I can get it right now. If I go down the street and get it. Our goal is to get you well and to get you prioritizing your health and your wellness. OK, so that's what we're about here. If this is your first time at the site or at our page, welcome. My name is Dwayne, and I'm very glad to have you here. Now, you've seen by we look at the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about Mr. Phillp Scott and his recent analysis on this situation of this father who was so distraught about the fact that his son was, shot and unfortunately killed by a cop, that he decided to get into his own car and decided to make a statement by finding any old cop to kill. And so now the father will now be spending the rest of his life in prison. And so before we get started with that, I just want to set some expectations regarding this video. Okay. Number one, I do not know Phillp Scott, never met him. Okay. And he is, as far as I'm concerned, I do not see him as an enemy. Okay. Until you give me a reason to define you as such. I have to say all of these things because I know how black folks can be. All right. But I want you to know who you're dealing with here. I'm talking about me. All right. So that's not it. Everything that I am going to be saying in this video is not going to be looking at him personally. Like, for example, a lot of people bring up who he's married to and all that. I don't care. None of that it matters to me at all. I don't care. Okay, we're not talking about anything else. We're not going anywhere else in any other area regarding his life. We're going to be talking specifically about what he posted on here on YouTube on a public platform. So that is it. That is all I'm talking about. If you think I'm going to be talking greasy and going on it, this is not the place here because I don't do that. Okay. Not trying to do that. And I have to say this because what typically happens is when you do call people out on certain things, people want that to happen. They want a Real Housewives of Atlanta kind of situation. I personally don't. I don't have time for that. So this video, we're going to be sticking to 100% the story, and specifically how Phillp Scott and how him and really others, how they are, interpreting this thing. And so I just want to make that very clear. So like I said, I remember some years ago, it was someone else that had said some things that was factually way off. And then next thing you know, they trying to tear everything down. When we do play his video, talk about Phillp Scott, unfortunately, I will not be playing the video. You'll be hearing the audio, because another one of the things I run into is people so don't like you saying anything. And I don't know if he's one of these people. They will try to take your video down if you are playing their video. So you will be hearing the audio. All right. But it's just as effective. All right. Because most of his video, he's talking anyway, so you're not missing anything by us doing that. So, okay, so I just wanted to start off with setting those expectations, okay? All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. And big shout out to those that are in our chat, and so glad that you guys are here. And let's go ahead and get to it. There's this video here. I want to start off with this. By now, many of you know about this situation regarding his father and what led up to it. I'm trying to see, where do I begin with this? I think what I'll do is let me play this video clip first. This will be a good starting point, okay? And get it up here, turn my volume up, and let's start off with this video to catch people up in case they don't know. And I want you to take note and listen intently to everything in this video, okay? This is straight from the news.
Okay, see my color defender. Good morning, Mr. Hinton. Good morning.
He said good morning, Judge. He's very soft-spoken.
Okay, all right. I seen in the video about my grandson, I seen two scared people. I seen the officer scared, and I seen my grandson scared. So it's an unfortunate incident that happened. So that's all I seen. It was like, I didn't see the police there trying to kill. No. What I seen was two persons made a mistake. My grandson made a mistake being there, and the officer, he was trying to get back to his family too.
We're also learning more new information tonight. Hinton's family says he attended Don High School before it shut down. He was not in school at the time of his death. Family and attorneys didn't dispute otherwise that Hinton was sitting in a stolen car or had a gun on him at the time of the incident. His cousin says, however, he should not have been in that stolen car because he was locked out of the house the night before.
And I was asleep. Ryan, I'm so sorry. This was never supposed to happen to you. Ever. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I'm so sorry, Ryan. Just know he won't supposed to be there.
Like we said, a very, very emotional press conference that wrapped up about an hour ago. The family is asking the public not to rush to judgment. Their attorneys are reviewing every report and angle of the incident they can get their hands on. At that point, attorneys say they will announce what, if any, steps they will take. We also asked about Ryan's father, Rodney Hinton Jr. Family did not want to take many questions regarding him, though we can tell you he faces aggravated murder charges, and he will be back in court tomorrow for a bond hearing.
Okay, so you heard that. That was the family giving a press conference there. And then what you heard was the grandfather, the father of Ryan Hinton Sr., or I don't know, I guess would be the second, I guess. You have the grandfather who was just speaking there, and then you had the father, Mr. Hinton, who's the junior, and then you have the son who is no longer with us. And I'm going to play this video again, but I'm just going to play it up to the point of I'm going to try to speed up because I want to make sure you're hearing what the grandfather is saying here, okay? Because it is worth us hearing and making sure that we're hearing what's coming straight from the family here, okay? So let me go ahead and play that again, and I'm going to try to scrub it to that part.
Seen in the video about my grandson, I seen two scared people. I seen the officer scared, and I seen my grandson scared. So it's an unfortunate incident that happened. So that's all I seen. It was like, I didn't see the police there trying to kill. No. What I seen was two persons made a mistake. My grandson made a mistake of being there, and the officer, he was trying to get back to his family too.
We're also learning more new information tonight. Hinton's family says he attended Don High School before it shut down. He was not in school at the time of his death. Family and attorneys didn't dispute otherwise that Hinton was sitting in a stolen car or had a gun on him at the time of the incident. His cousin says, however, he should not have been in that stolen car because he was locked out of the house the night before.
Okay. So here's some takeaways here. So here you had the grandfather, stating that, hey, listen, this is what I saw here, basically, just emphasizing the fact that, his son, grandson or whatever was there, shouldn't have been there, and then you had the officer who's just doing his job, and the family acknowledging that, a couple of things. One, that he shouldn't have been there. Why shouldn't he have been there? Because because he's in a stolen car. He shouldn't have been in that situation. And then what's the bigger one that they acknowledge here? They said that the night before he was locked out of the house. So he wasn't at school and he was locked out of the house. So we're going to take our time with this and we're going to process this. So the question arises for me is, why was he locked out of the house? Because most people, if you're locked, all of us have experienced being locked out of our house. I mean, at least at some point in your life. But how many of you, if you were locked out of your house, the next thing comes to your mind is, I'm going to go steal a car? I don't think that naturally is the next thing that comes in people's mind. See, what we're going to do is we're going to trace this thing all the way through and we're going to process it, the whole thing. We're going to process this whole thing. All right. And what we're going to do now is I am going to play this video from Phillp Scott. All right. Like I told you, we're going to just play the audio of it. All right. I'm just going to play the audio. I'm not going to play the actual video. And this is the video that he did here. Let me pull this up on the screen. This is his channel. And this is the video right here. All right. And so the title of it is Rodney Hinton Jr. Didn't let cops intimidate him in court. He looked them right in the eyes. No fear, no backing down. Okay. So, Phil's having a little man crush on this dude. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna play the video. We're gonna let him talk, and as time goes on, I'll be stopping. I'm just letting you know. I'm just gonna be stopping periodically, and so that we can break this down and talk about it. Okay, so let me get the video up, and then we're gonna start from the beginning. All right, so let's get it up here, and let's go.
Pretty sure many of you have heard the story of Rodney Hinton Jr. His son was killed by the Cincinnati police. And the following day, after he viewed his son's body, he went and saw a deputy out in the road and decided to, take matters into his own hands and enact an eye for an eye with the situation. Of course, he was arrested. And I want you to see this footage from the courtroom, how these police showed up in there like trying to intimidate Brother Rodney. And Brother Rodney, I want you to see how he responded to it.
And I'll play the video. I'll play that part of the video in a little bit.
Good morning, Mr. Hinton. Good morning. He said good morning, Judge. He's very soft-spoken.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
In fact, I think I can get away with this. Let me go back.
Good morning, Mr.
Let me go back because this is news. Yeah. Let me just play this here. All right, so there you go. So you'll see it because I want us to all see this part together.
Okay, see if I can put it.
Good morning, Mr. Hinton. Good morning. He said good morning, Judge. He's very soft-spoken.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Anything as to probable cause?
Your Honor, we'll waive probable cause this morning. I submitted designations for John Kennedy and Timothy Bignell. They will be the attorneys of record handling Mr. Hinton's case. I'll be handling the arraignment this morning.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, or anything as to bond?
As to bond, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, we understand this is a very, very serious, very terrible charge that Mr. Hinton is facing. He's a risk, but he does not have a history, Judge. He has no felonies in his record. Justice sentence was 1. He has no juvenile record. He works at BDF. He's married. He's a father. He's a graduate of Purcell Marion. Purcell Marion.
I'm gonna skip it just a tinge.
This is sheet. Is that right, Mr. Moore? All right. The court has had a chance to review that and his past history. Is there anything from the state through the prosecutor?
Yes, Your Honor. Ryan Nelson on behalf of the
Could you
prosecution.
give us more volume, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Ryan Nelson on behalf of the prosecution.
All right, so they're going through all the preliminaries here.
Safe. And I ask that because he was transferred, as I understand it, to Claremont County yesterday.
That's correct.
On my order.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And will he be returned to Claremont County until Tuesday?
It's our understanding.
And you have a safe environment for him there in Claremont County? Yes, sir. You'll return him on Tuesday, May the 6th at 8:30 a.m. for a hearing at 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, for the record, we'd ask the court to put a bond on him now, but we understand that it's not a bond hearing with us.
All right, no bond.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can hold him at no bond for 72 hours, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much.
Okay, so there you go. So let me go right here. I'm gonna take it off here, and then we're gonna listen to what Phil got to say on this. Okay.
Saw all those cops standing in there, and boy, them white cops was looking so angry and upset. Oh, they look like they just like, oh, can I string him up right now? And that brother just walked right by and looked at all of them in the eye. He didn't duck his head. He wasn't scared, any of that. You know what I'm saying? He like, nah, what? What do you want to do? You know what I'm saying? See, they are afraid of that.
Okay, so let's stop here for a second. They're afraid of that. Let's pause here for a second. And if I get loud, y'all, that's just me, okay? Let's pause here for a second. They are afraid of that. That's what he said. They're afraid of him. Now, if you take a look at the video, if you go back to the, let me see, I'll just pull up another thing here. Hold on for a second here. I'm gonna switch up here because we're gonna go. Like I told you, we're gonna walk through this thing together. That's him right there. So according to Phil, the cops are afraid of him. Now let's take a look at this picture here. Who in the picture has an orange jumpsuit on? Who in the picture got an orange jumpsuit on? And if I'm correct, it looks like he's in court. It looks like he's in custody. It looks like he's surrounded by a bunch of cops. But cops that are armed, mind you. But somehow in Phil's mind and other Negroes like him, he believes that somehow all of these people with all of this firepower, he's the one that's wearing the cuffs, but somehow he believes that these cops are afraid of him. And this is the delusion that I've been talking about that you see amongst a lot of Negroes out here that teach this stuff, that put this stuff out here, that the world revolves around you. Well, in this case, yeah, the world does revolve around him. It's called prison. But Phil, I'm sitting in the back and listening to him, and not just him. Like I said, there's other. If you go on social media, someone's mentioning this as well. There's many black folks out here. People like Phil and others, he's fanboying this guy. Like, oh, did you see how he looked at him? And, you know, he ain't moving. He's stoic and all of this stuff. I'm sorry, I don't hear regular men talking like that about another man. I don't. I'm just being real, okay? Like, this man is Jesus Christ. But the reality is, this man did what he did, and now he is going to be under the prison for the rest of his life. And what's the other reality? This man chose, because he couldn't control his emotions, to break up the rest of his family. And like whoever said this in there, he's right. Whoever said that in there, acting like this is some kind of flex. This is a flex, Phil, this is a flex. He chose to break up his whole family to get back at a cop. And the thing is, the cop that he opted to take out of this world wasn't even the cop that did anything to his son. And I'm going to take you through step by step what happens when stuff like this happens in the general community, because folk you just don't think things all the way through. All right, let's continue. Let's continue to hear what Phil got to say on this.
They're afraid of black people responding in that manner. See, when you had the civil rights generation, only thing they wanted you to do is just do right. Okay? When one of these old race soldiers took the life of a black person, they wanted you to get them arrested and have them put in jail. That's what they wanted, right? A lot of them were saying they forgive you for taking the lives of black people. That's what the civil rights generation wanted with you. This new generation, not so much. This new generation is really not about a bunch of praying and begging for y'all to ask for forgiveness and all that sort of thing like that. See, this father here, right? Think about all the years he saw black boys and young black men lose their life at the hands of these police. And it's always the same. Back
up. Now this is classic, what a lot of black folks like to do. Now we like to push them into lore. Now we're getting into black lore now. That's what we're getting into now. Now we're getting into black lore. Think about it for a second. He probably sat back and saw all these black men getting shot by police, and that just built up in him. He built in a whole origin story, we don't need Marvel. We got Phil. He built in a whole origin story of a man you and I, and even him, don't even know. Anybody that decides to do something that Mr. Hinton did, I'm sorry, and that's your hero? That's your hero. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself right now. I know I am. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. But isn't it time? But this is what black culture today, Again, for those that follow me, I said there needs to be a separation between what we call today black culture and our black history. Because black culture is doing everything it can to destroy our black history, to get us to forget who and what we came from. And that's why I said there has to be a separation, because this whole definition today, what we call black history or black culture, it is a death culture, period. End of discussion. Aren't you in black culture yesteryear when we grew up, most of us when we grew up, our heroes wore suits, ties, maybe not, maybe it was your mother, maybe it was your father or whatever. They were regular people for the most part. And then you had like some of the extraordinaries like Muhammad Ali and, you know, people in the sports world and Wilt Chamberlain and, you know, different ones. Or maybe it was some singer or artist or something like that. Or, you know, baseball player. I mean, Willie Mays. I mean, think about all that. For many black young boys and girls growing up, Marian Anderson, you know, I mean, we could go down the list. Billie Holiday. Our heroes wore dresses and suits and ties and did all that, but they also spoke out when they needed to, right? But black culture today, you know what the heroes wear? Orange jumpsuits and handcuffs. That's the heroes of today. And we're supposed to sit back and romanticize that? And I'm sitting here listening to him getting all googly-eyed about somebody who made a terrible mistake. Terrible. Twice. Not just the father, but also the son. Because let's back up for a second. Number one, I don't care who's out here trying to repaint this whole picture. That young man made a bad decision. Okay? Number one, he was locked out of his house. Let's start from there. See, you won't hear anybody talking about that. You won't hear the Tariq Nasheeds talking about that. You won't hear the Phillp Scotts talking about that or anybody else. You're not going to hear them bring that up. His own family, for whatever reason, maybe he lost his key. We don't know. But what we do know is he was locked out of his house. Number two, no sane person goes from, I'm locked out of my house, let me go steal a car. Nobody thinks that way. So what that tells me is there was probably some kind of history there, but we don't know. But we just going by the facts that have come out so far. And this comes straight from the family. So he was in the car, this young boy, he was in the car. The cops tagged the car and they say, oh, that's the one we're looking for. It's stolen. The cops pull him over or whatever and try to tell him, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car. They jump out of the car and take off and start running. Now, if you're not guilty, you ain't gonna run. And then on top of that, so apparently, according to police, he had a gun on him. And, you know, you can't even touch that gun if you in police possession. I mean, if you within range of an officer, you can't even touch a gun. And they shot, and that's it. That was a whole wrap. And so they said that they, you know, within minutes, they were already trying to restore his life. Within minutes. But they also found that gun that he did. He had a gun on him. And the family said themselves, according to this report that we just saw, they said, we're not going to deny he had a gun. We're not even denying it. They're literally not even denying it. So here we got Phillp Scott trying to romanticize this dude like he was just skipping home from school after a hard days of work, but he can't wait to get home to mama where she got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich waiting for him. And then all of a sudden, here come one of them pigs, just can't wait to kill a black child. This is how it's being spun. Anyway, let's move on.
Usual suspects, right? Taking the life of a young black man. And after years and years and years and years of seeing this, including what happened with George Floyd, okay? After years of seeing this, and Rodney would have never thought that would have been his son. After all these years, he didn't seen this.
Now, Phil, let me ask you something. How do you know all of this? Did you talk to the father, or are you creating a whole backstory narrative? maybe you should work for Marvel, because everything you're saying here, you the one coming up with all this lore, all this black lore. You're the one that's coming up with that. Did you talk to the father? No. Chances are you didn't. You're just assuming a whole lot, a whole lot here. Anyway, let him talk.
And he saw his son. Remember, this happened 2 hours after he saw his son's body and he identified his son's body. 2 hours later, he went and targeted the deputy. Now, some people may say, well, he should have went and got the guy that did it. In a perfect world, maybe some people would be correct. But some people clearly are like, if you take mine, I'm gonna take one of yours no matter who it is. Right? That's just really what it is now.
That's called street justice, and we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about what he's putting out here, this street justice nonsense.
The folks would be like, everybody can't take the law into their own hands. Well, when you have the Republicans and the Democrats not want to get rid of qualified immunity to hold these police officers more accountable, and when you keep seeing these police officers get off of doing these.
Bro, what the hell are you what are you even talking about? What are you talking about? Now we're talking about Democrats and Republicans? Do you see, he can't even put it on his lips that this dude that got killed, unfortunately, this young man that got killed, unfortunately, stole a car. He was part of it. So instead of talking about that, now all of a sudden it's Democrats and Republicans. Oh, they need to get better laws now. Better laws for what? Better laws for what? Let me ask you something, and I'm going to revisit this point. Let me ask you something, or I'm going to ask, but I'm also going to say something to you. Now, listen, over the years, I have been extremely critical of police. Those of you who have followed me for years know that's true. I've been extremely critical about police and some of the things they do when they cross the line and all that other stuff, right? But let me just say this to you. Now, this is something I'm going to pose to you, and I want you to think about it. Now, I've never been a police officer. I do have a family member. I'm trying to think if I have any. I know one family member I have he ain't just an officer. He's like way up in the state that he's in. He works for. I mean, he was way up. And I might have another family member. I'm not sure, but anyway, one thing I know about police, when we're talking about police departments, they have to operate with code. In other words, everything is a process. Everything's they have a code book. They have a rule book. Everything they do, they got a rule. How to engage, when to engage, how to use a gun, when to use a gun, how do you put your uniform on and all of that, how to engage with people, how to back off. When something is when you got to communicate with other officers, the code that you use. Okay, this is a A1465 or whatever they say, right? How to drive, how to do this and that or whatever. They got rules and regulations that for the most part they have to abide by. Now, I'm be the first to tell you that I'm very confident that there are numbers of cops out there that don't abide by all those rules. Okay, so I'm not living in the land of make believe, but I am in the land of reality here. That they, for the most part, most police departments, if not all of them, they do have a code of ethics. Okay, I did a whole video on this, a code of ethics, and that video was very boring, and I know it was, that they have to abide by. Let me ask you something. For those of you who are still rocking this ideology, what is the code of ethics for the black community? Let me ask that again. What is the code of ethics for the black community? Because what Phil is leading to, he's talking about, hey, well, sometimes there's, you're going to have to do street justice. Okay, well, justice has to be embedded with some type of code of ethics. You can't enact justice if there aren't ethics that go along with it. A lot of people think justice, I could say justice, for what? It's got to be against what? What ethics are we talking about? Is it just how you feel that day? But that's what he's talking about. He's getting into this whole street justice thing. And hey, eye for an eye, maybe you get, anyway. So let him continue to talk.
Killings on black people, you kind of create a Rodney Hinton. You kind of create that because some people are not going to sit up here and just let you take their children away from them without a response.
He committed a crime, Phil. He committed a crime. He chose to put himself, I'm talking about the boy now, to put himself in that situation. He chose that path. The father who could not control his emotions. If you didn't see the video that I did recently, the latest, the one before this one, you need to watch it. The father could not control his emotions and opted to go and take somebody out that had nothing to do with it. He committed a crime. He was a creation of his own doing. This had nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans or white people or anything like that. He did this himself, and he chose to break up his whole entire family in the process. That is far from a man that any man should be looking at or following. That's not an example to follow. That's an example to avoid. But when we got men out here like Phil that's fangirling this dude, you're not helping the situation. Anyway, let's continue.
I'm just saying. And if you look at the comments, most people have for this situation. I'm seeing comments just across the board. It has nothing to do with anybody's community. A lot of people are having respect for him. I guarantee you in jail, a lot of people respect him. He's not
Notice he said in jail. Yep. Yeah. But he'll be in jail. He may get respect. See, you see what I'm saying? You see what he's doing? I think that even in jail, he going to be respected. He's creating this whole big backstory narrative. Never met the guy. So Phil so far has described this guy as he was probably sitting home and for years and years and years and seeing all this stuff. And he was just so mad and angry and he just had to do something and had to take one on for the team. And I bet even when he get in jail, he writing a whole story. Disney should be knocking at his door at any minute now. A whole story. And well, let's continue.
The inmates don't have an issue with him. You know what I'm saying? People probably making sure he good in there. Because of that situation. You see, black people, they getting tired. They're getting so tired of things like this. And now they all in police up there looking at him, standing like, come on, the judge knew what they were doing. The judge should say, we don't need all y'all in here. Go somewhere with that. Especially standing that close to him. Why?
Because he killed one of their own, and that's how police roll, as they should. That's their brother in arms, and that's how they roll. Should I play a video that I saw recently? I told you I got tons of videos, y'all. I literally need to buy a whole hard drive, for real. You got a bunch of black folks in prison, not in prison, in this court, in a court. It was unrelated to this story. And when I tell you they turned that whole court out because they couldn't get in. It had nothing to do with it had something to do with the case, but they just had a whole flip out. So I could show you that and contrast that with the cops who were just standing there, because that's how it's called unification. They're unified. That's how they roll. The things that we claim that the black community, when we come together with, yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Why? There was no reason for all of them to be in there, but they wanted to intimidate him, like scam. Like that brother, man, and what? You know what I'm saying?
Right, you literally sound like a 5-year-old with this. He's going to prison, Phil. He will be in prison for the rest of his life. He willingly chose to break up his family. And you're impressed by that?
They don't like that kind of courage. And the judge know that brother not safe, but they'll try to go in there and do something to him. That's why the judge said about his safety. It wasn't about his safety because of the inmates. The inmates are not the problem. It's them people in the jail. And then police is going to be the problem for him, not the inmates. Now, let's say, someone say, well, he was running out of a stolen car. You don't know what was going on. There's been no investigation. And let's just go ahead on and say,
that's the report, Phil. You see what he's doing here? You don't know that they literally have a whole press conference. I didn't even show that, where they talk about all of that. And here's the thing, y'all. Here's the other thing I want to add too. All of this, I almost want to guarantee you that the car that was stolen probably belonged to a black person. What about them? What about them? They lost out of this too. But yet people like Phil want to make this father-son team, McCormick and whatever it is. I don't know. The Hatfields and whatever. He trying to make them into supervillains that we are supposed to hold up and honor and cherish and protect.
Let's play your game. Let's say he was still in a car. You do know, if you are convicted of vehicle theft, the penalty from a judge isn't the death penalty. You know that, right? So taking someone's life for vehicle theft is not what a judge would have sentenced.
What the hell are you talking about? What is he talking about? What is he talking about? But you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you, this is how people do. This is how people like Phil do. They do this stuff all the time. You leaving all of these details out. Again, try to make it seem like, well, let's say he did steal the car. He stole the car. That's already established. It's already established. Notice the difference here in the approach. Phil is taking all of this time romanticizing and fantasizing about another man. I went to the actual family and played their clip where they are acknowledging that, yeah, he screwed up, unfortunately. They're acknowledging that. But not these Negroes out here. No. Shh. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't, whatever you do, don't say that.
So you don't get to just do whatever you want to do. You catch him, right? He didn't remember he was unarmed. He didn't have a gun on him. He didn't have a gun. The cop claimed he heard something, right? He heard a gun. Or you don't know which one did it. It was a bunch of them ran out of the car. How you know it was his? How do you know?
Because it was next to him, Phil, according to the police report. According to initial reports, you were not there. I was not there. All we can go by is what the police have initially reported. Now, unless you got the money and you got the resources to do your independent report to prove them wrong, all we can go by is what has been initially reported. You see how all this spinning and stuff that he's doing here? There's another clip here I want to play for you, and I'll get back to Phil in a moment. Let me get this other clip here. This clip here I want to play here. I'll get back to Phil in a moment here because I wanted to play this. Okay, here we go. Now, this is of the, apparently they're saying this is the brother. Not the brother. They're saying, who is this? I think it was the cousin. Oh, brother. They're saying brother. I want you to take a listen. I want you to watch this whole thing here. So this is going on outside the courtroom. And I want you to see the reaction of the brother here.
I just want my brother to see me. I just want my brother to see me. I just want my brother to see me. My brother can't see me. They did this shit before. They did this shit before.
This is not the way to do it.
They did it before.
This is not the way
I got video of them messing with my brother and me before.
to do it. This is not the
I ain't do nothing. I just wanted my brother to see me. I ain't do nothing to him. He got that's my baby. That's my baby in that store.
Okay, come on.
Ray, please. Ray, please. Doing all that. Man, see me one-on-one, man. I got 40 motherfuckers here for my brother, man. Ray, please.
Okay, so let me go back to our other video here, because he's doing all of that. Let me go back to my other video here that I just played for you earlier. All right, let me play this part here. So you see, this is the brother, man. He's just going out, you know, I just want him to see me. I just want him to see me. So for those of you just joining us, let me go back, because I played this video twice. Let me play the part I want to get to again. Okay, so give me a moment. I'm gonna scrub through it. I'm gonna play this part again. I want you to hear this.
In the video about my grandson, I seen two scared people. I seen the officer scared, and I seen my grandson scared. So it's an unfortunate incident that happened. So that's all I seen. It was like, I didn't see the police there trying to kill. No. What I seen was two persons made a mistake. My grandson made a mistake being there, and the officer, he was trying to get back to his family too.
We're also learning more new information tonight. Hinton's family says he attended Don High School before it shut down. He was not in school at the time of his death. Family and attorneys didn't dispute otherwise that Hinton was sitting in a stolen car or had a gun on him at the time of the incident. His cousin says, however, he should not have been in that stolen car because he was locked out of the house the night before.
Okay, you heard that, right? You heard the same thing I heard. Now, go back to the video that I played prior to this. Now, here you got the brother out here. You're doing all of that, right? I just want him to see me. My question to you is this. If you want to see him so bad, then why was he locked out of the house? If you wanted to see him so bad, why was he locked out of the house? That's the first why I got for you. And then the second why I got for you is, why would he choose, instead of going into finding somewhere else to stay, I'm going to go steal a car? See, I got to be like this because I'm tired of fool niggas out here, because they're getting me hot now, because they are out here trying to paint the picture as if this boy and this man represents every good black man out here. And they don't. They do not. Or they expect good black men to come to the defense of this. I am not. That dude, he made the choice himself to do that, and he's going to cook for that. That's him. That's his decision. That's his choice, and that's it. I am not a part of any community that condones that. I'm not. You may be, but I'm not. He made the choice to do that. Just the night before, y'all locked him out of the house. You locked him. He was locked out of the house. Were you crying then? Now all of a sudden, all of a sudden now you concerned. Now all of a sudden it's showtime. See, these are the details that people like Phil, they will leave out. Instead, they want to romanticize this whole thing. Next thing you know, he probably going to say he was riding on a chariot. And he saw Jesus and all of that. Oh, and don't let the religious people now, they having a field day with this. They're going to have all kind of scriptures and everything. This is crazy. This is crazy. Why won't you go back and pull that out, Phil? Why won't you go back to what the family acknowledged? They acknowledged that. But they don't want to talk about that. Anyway, let's move on. I'm sorry, y'all. It gets me mad because, see, I try my utmost. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this and I'll let Phil go back. Because there has to be a separation here. I am done with people having to, there's this expectancy somehow when you got Negroes out here that are doing some of the most stupid, heinous things that somehow everybody else who don't do those things, somehow that's all us at the end of the day and we all one big family. That ain't my family. Anybody that does stuff like that, that ain't it. And I will say this publicly. There are people even in my own chain, in my own backyard. I'm talking about my own bloodline. I'm like, listen, y'all over there. I have to do that. Just in and out and just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And you're like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, nigga, what you talking about? And okay, then you stay over there. Oh, who do you think you are? And all that. Yeah, I think higher of myself than that. That's who I think I am. And I'm here to help you. But if you don't want, okay, then I'll keep on moving. Just don't call me for bailout money because only people you're gonna be talking to, you call me for bailout money is my cousin Tone. Dial Tone. That's the only person that's all he always gives the same answer. That's the only answer that he gives. Don't call me for anything. That's it. Anyway, let's move on. Let me get back and playing with Phil here. We're pretty almost there. And then I got some other clips that I want to play for you too.
How do you know? And let's say he did drop. Let's say if it was his. Did he point it at you? No, he didn't. He was running. He didn't point it at you.
God, this dude. Phil, you really don't understand rules of engagement. If the cop tells you stop, put your hands up or whatever, you don't run. You do not run when the cops are telling you you're in a stolen car. Your first inclination isn't to run away. And according to the initial reports, and have a gun at that. You don't do that. God.
So I want to know what's going to happen to the cop that did this. And that cop should feel horrible right now because
I'm sure he does. Most cops, what happens is that anytime when there's a fatality that takes place when they're on duty, they usually are put on paid leave while there's a full top-down investigation that's open to the public. Anybody can read it. Anybody can access it for the most part. They make everything public. This same police department, what they did was they released within hours, they released footage of everything that happened. On the other hand, again, what are the ethics? What are the code of ethics of what we call the black community? What's the code of ethics? Do we reveal everything or do we say, no, we got to keep things cloistered and keep it under wraps because, we got a code of silence. We don't snitch here. We don't do all this stuff. Are we telling the whole story or are we just telling the parts of the story that we just want everyone to talk about?
Took that young man's life, and now another man that had nothing to do with it lost his because of what he done. So that's two people lives that basically he is responsible for.
Wow, that's some logic.
He did that.
That's some logic.
All you had to do was just catch him. That's the only thing y'all had to do. Y'all could have caught him because they can't outrun the radio.
Right. So how are they going to catch him, Phil? How are you going to catch somebody? You telling them to stop and they're running and they have a gun. How is that going to happen? And you're not supposed to do anything. You're not supposed to do anything. Hey, come back, please come back. Come on back. Don't. Hey, young man, come on. Don't do that. No. Oh, don't do that. I know you're in a stolen car. Oh, I know you got a gun, but hey, listen, we all had guns when we were little.
Y'all would have caught him, right? Just do some good police work. But no, you want to pull your weapon out and blast on a young black man. And now all this is going on now. And now people are saying, hey, Rodney Hinton's family, where's their give, send, go? A lot of people saying, hey, where is it at? We want to go it on and give him some money for a good defense. Because in my opinion, he should plead
Sorry.
temporary insanity.
Back up. He said, in my opinion, I want you to, this is the part I want y'all to hear. He said, in my opinion, he should plead temporary insanity. Now let's stop here for a second, okay? Because again, I told you, we're just sticking to the details here. That's all I'm doing. So here you got Phillp Scott saying, trying to romanticize and glamorize this dude as if he is the hero of the hour for black people to follow. Okay, so we're with that, right? And according to Phil, he's saying, yeah, this man stood on business for the most part. So this is a man a hero that black people should follow. He stood on business. Okay? Now, later on, what does Phil say? He should plead temporary insanity. So he's a hero, but he's an insane hero. Do you understand the illogical nonsense that we're faced with today in this, what we call black culture? You can't even have a hero that is sane. He's got to be insane. Well, you're taking what he's saying out of context. What Phil trying to say is he should play that game and all of that. No, if you're going to stand on business, then stand on business. I'm not going to sit up here and say, well, I just went crazy for a few minutes. No.
Because he did this 2 hours after he saw his son's dead body. So it makes more sense to the temporary insanity defense, actually. Now, if he'd have waited 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and you could say, okay, premeditated. But 2 hours afterwards, that's where he can get the temporary insanity defense at, right there. If I was a lawyer, that's what I was trying to go for.
But you're not. And thank God and all the gods and goddesses or whatever that's out there that you're not. Because you certainly wouldn't be representing me on anything.
Say, hey, he saw his son. He wasn't in a good mental state. He was angry. He went temporarily insane. When he seen that and he saw, this officer over here and he targeted him, because he went temporarily insane. It wasn't premeditated. I would fight that all day long. I was a lawyer to know it was not premeditated. Means you planned. He came just from, like, how can he plan that? How? He didn't know that also.
So now he's not someone he went from glamorizing him to now saying Phil now is trying to paint this picture that this guy went crazy. He's trying to build Phil is just kind of just talking, and saying, yeah, this is how you're going to do it. Now, if I was his lawyer, this is how I would do it. I would say he needs to plead temporary insanity, because this happened, 2 hours afterwards. And he didn't get himself time to process or think about it and all of that. So that's what I would do. Okay.
He was in the street. He didn't know anything. So how could he plan that?
Hold on for a sec. This is my beautiful daughter there. Anyway.
And that's just really what I would do if I was a lawyer. But where's his give, send, go? Because plenty of people would definitely love to donate to his defense. You know what I'm saying? People are tired. You look at that Luigi guy,
all over the place.
All over the place. People are tired.
All over the place.
People are tired of getting screwed over by corporations. People are tired of getting screwed over by the police. People getting tired, and this is and I've been reading this from all communities. They're tired. Just treat people with respect. That's it. Treat people with respect in the healthcare industry. How
about tell the woman or the man or whoever it was that car belonged to? Yeah, people. I'm wondering if they're tired. They're tired of getting their car stolen. I wonder if they're tired. You done skipped over that. We don't know who. All I know is it was a car that does not belong to them. I'm not going to sit up here and make up a backstory on that. We just know the car did not belong to them. And like most people, a car is something that's very key and instrumental in your household. If you got kids or whatever, maybe you got an elderly or maybe you just got a car just to go down the street, pass gas and come on back. You have a car for a reason to get you around and do things. but people are tired. You know, you just can't do anything. Right. But apparently they thought they could. You can't just go and just run away, and steal a car and just say, hey, I'm just going to steal a car tonight. You can't just do that. You can't just say, oh, they stopped my son. I'm going to go and I'm going to kill another cop. You can't just do that. Yes, things do have consequences.
Police need to treat people with respect, treat people human. Don't do anything to them. Because like I said, it's way more people in society than it is them. Okay, not the CEOs removing their pictures and all of that. Look, you wouldn't have to do all that. Just treat people right. People pay insurance when they need it. That's just give them what they paid for. That's it. And you won't have a Luigi show up one day. You won't. And Luigi didn't have no.
How are we talking about Luigi? How are we talking about Luigi now? How is that now part of the conversation? And when it's probably like 2 minutes left. I'm at my tipping point with this, and then like I said, there's some video clips I do want to share with you that's all related to this. But I'm going to see if I can get through the next 30 seconds.
Background. Just like Rodney didn't have no criminal record like that. So you look at somebody who had no criminal record and did something like this. I mean, it's some people just not going to let you take their children away from them without a response. And so I'll tell the politicians, fix it. Get these police in control. Get them in control. Get rid of qualified immunity. That way they won't be so quick to fire on.
I can't. I'm done. I can't anymore with him. I can't. Not on this topic. I can't. I cannot. To hear this grown man to try to give every excuse in the book for this type of behavior and trying to rally up other black folks to basically say, hey, listen, this slush kind of way of him trying to do this, trying to rally up black folks to say, hey, listen, black folk are tired. Hey, it's just, things are going to happen. This is street justice and all of this. And, this ain't. And then early on in what he was saying, he was talking about how, this generation of black people today, we're not like the generation of yesteryear that, they just were, he's basically trying to say that they were passive. But now, these black folks today, they're not. They just gonna, black folk today, we just, we ain't taking this stuff anymore. So it's this low key kind of like, trying to rally the troops, so to speak. And so since he's talking to the troops, let's take a look at, you're going to look at, this is a compilation video that I put together. It's about 6 minutes long. I want you to take a look at the greatest fear within the black community today and what we call the black community and the people that Phil, is talking to. I want you to take a look at this. All right. 6 minutes, a little over 6 minutes long. Let's take a look at it and let's get real.
And the one idea is how we are going to exterminate white people, because that, in my estimation, is the only conclusion I have come to. We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem. Now, I don't care whether you clap or not, but I'm saying to you that we need to solve this problem because they are going to kill us. And I will leave on that. So we have to just set up our own system and stop playing and get very serious and not be diverted.
This gun right here for my protection. This gun right here teach you a lesson. This gun right here hurt your ear. This gun right here if you try and test me. So go on, come on if you bad. Come on.
No retreat, no surrender. That's the claim.
My opinion is, I can quick draw this faster than somebody can quick draw a 20-inch AR-15. By the time they get it doing all this, I'm gonna be already letting out about 5 shots.
Step into the block, it's war. Rivals creeping through the shadows, door to door. Got my crew, ain't no fear on this floor. We grind hard, ready for in the store. Enemies can talk, but they know what's in store. We coming heavy, ain't no way to ignore. Yeah! With the word war, it's a violent game. All my boys riding hard, we in the same. No retreat, no surrender, that's the claim. In the heart of the South, we lit the flame. Woo! Grew up in the struggle, we fought to survive. Hustlers through the dark night, man, we aim to thrive. Enemies lurk, but they can't collide. No, cold in my city, got nowhere to hide. When my high bustin' live, yeah, we keep it live. One wrong move, they won't get out alive.
Bitch ass nigga.
What you doing with that right there, little one?
Ah, this no case.
Come on, don't play
no
with this,
no
cuz.
case. Blew it up.
Yeah! Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah!
Oh, we out of there.
Bitch, what the fuck? Yeah, I like that. Hold on, bitch. How you motherfucking use this shit? Hold on. Yeah, bitch. Pussy ass nigga. Huh. Baby girl, I need that fan cause I'm hot now. Broke that nigga with that. You get
My motherfucking self, bitch.
Okay, Trey.
I kill myself.
Who gonna die today?
Don't do it. See this?
Don't kill yourself that during 38.
Chill out, man. Russian roulette.
I got it on camera. I got that bitch on camera. He almost died. Look at her. Look at his face. You ain't no real nigga. Stupid, goofy ass little boy.
police taser, but this bitch will kill you on hood, shoot you in the right place. I'm sad. This bitch is technically missing agent. You just. He didn't have no more. I never pulled the gun out. I never pulled the gun.
It's right here. Can you get a hello jersey? No. Hey, no. Come on, Mark. Come on.
Oh, boy, he got the strap on him. Oh, shit. Oh shit, we're about to get his ass. World stuff. Oh boy, he got the strap on him.
Oh shit. Oh shit!
Clean it, hoe. Ma looked at my shot, said, hold on, let me see my shit.
Inside that motherfucker with dust his head.
He fell in the mud. He fell as fuck.
Reward, it's a funny game.
All my boys body on, are we get the same? No retreat, no surrender, that's the claim.
This are the people that gonna hear this message that people like Phil have been putting out here. That's the audience. That's the audience. Where you are telling people, your followers, your viewers, that, hey, listen, sometimes street justice is going to have to be. Sometimes you're going to have to do it. You know who's running with that message right now? People like this in those videos that I just shared with you. They practice street justice every day. What did I say earlier? A justice system has to be based on ethics. There has to be a code of ethics. There is no code of ethics when in this, what we call the so-called black community. There aren't any ethics. You just do whatever you want to do. If you talk to anybody that is in gun training, or, you know, someone who's been through gun training, well, the first things they will tell you is this: you never pick up a gun if you are in a high emotional state, meaning that outside of you being robbed or something like that. But, you know, if you just had a hard day at work and the first thing you do is going to run into your room and reach for the gun or something, you don't want to do that. You need to go for a walk. You need to go chill. You need to do something. Do you want to know why? You want to know why there are so many people within black folks who get killed by stray bullets? Because of this same principle, is that because you lack the ability to control your emotions, you transfer your emotions to that gun, and now you just spraying all everywhere. If you go and now compare these riflemen in the street to people who are really trained and know how to shoot a gun. People who are trained and know how to shoot a gun, they're always hitting their target every time, and they don't have to do all this spraying. They just pop one time and they got their target. In the street, there's no training, none of that. You just all over the place. Why? Because you're operating on your emotions. And why is that? And like I said, go back and look at the other video. Emotions are good. Emotions are something that we all have. Emotions define who we are. But when the father and the mother, when they are broken emotionally, it transfers to the children. And we have a whole space full of people who are operating in that. Just emotion. There's a video here, another video clip that I have here too. Let me pull this up here, because here's a little bit more irony here on this video, amongst other things that came out. Because, you know, as I mentioned, you have people like Phil that are kind of romanticizing, you know, this whole situation. This like this guy is like Robin Hood or Negro Hood or something like that, where he's, you know, this is a brother that we need to make sure that he's taken care of and all of that. But what's interesting to me is seeing some of the comments and responses. Here's some of them. Someone put this video together. I want you to take note of the people of the comments in here. I want you to see if you can spot something here. Let me drag this over here and let's look at this short clip. So I turned the volume down. There was some music there. It was like copyright music, so I couldn't play that. But I wanted to play that for you to see those comments. You know what I noticed in there? There were numbers of black women who were saying, "Go, brother, you did the right thing." There were men in there too. And we calling them out as well. But there was numbers of black women who saw this and said, "Yup, that's right." And sadly, these sometimes will be the same women that will get upset if they get with a man who just loses his temper. Like someone just left a comment, was it today about that? They were dating somebody that just seemed like they just lost it, just be losing it. and we're supposed to be overlook this stuff. Look at this. Look at this. This is who's out here now, Phil, hearing what you're saying. So when you're out here glamorizing and glorifying people who make very bad decisions, like this father did, you want to know who's hearing your message, Phil? It's people like this on this screen right here. People like this. I'm going to get my finger right. Okay. People like this right here. Him. This little boy. They're hearing that message. That sometimes you're just going to have to do what you got to do. That's who's hearing this kind of message. So in conclusion with all of this here, I'm trying to see if I had any other points here. I talked about the street justice thing. One point I do want to mention too is, listen, just imagine yourself though as the father in this situation. Just imagine yourself for a moment, the father. You hear, especially as a black man, you come home and you find out that your son has been shot by the police. If you imagine for a second, I'm sure that there will be range of emotions unless you just stone. You're going to have a range of emotions. Nobody's saying or suggesting that the men or the father should be emotionless. No, you're going to have those. You're going to have emotions. You're going to be all over the place. When common emotion, a lot of times you're looking for someone to blame. You know what I mean? Amongst other things, it's happened. It's normal, things like that, right? But what's not normal is when you go past sanity and you want to begin to act on things. My wife and I, we had a discussion about this story earlier today, and she was basically saying, no, that he clearly there's some mental things going on there. For him to just bypass that and just, okay, well, I'm just going to go get in the car and I'm just going to go kill me an officer. There's something there that's broken. And I want, and we're not just passing this off and just saying, all people, that do these things are mentally ill or whatever. No. Some people just make bad decisions, but you do, truth be told, you have a lot of people out here that are undiagnosed, but they're walking around. They're walking around amongst us. You got people that are making some terrible decisions and they're doing things and they're flipping out. And a lot of times what black culture will do is normalize it and say, well, that's just how he is sometimes. When in reality, yeah, that may be how he is, but that's dangerous and he needs to go get some help, some professional help. So again, on this platform, what we do is that we really try our best to encourage people to get the help that you need when it comes to things like this, when it comes to how to handle this whole emotional thing. And it's not just women. It's not just a women's issue. This impacts both men and women. Both men and women are impacted by this. When you see people just, the first thing you want to do is go kill somebody. That's not in my deck of cards of things that I go through every day. When something ain't going right for me, the first thing that comes to my mind, I'm not like, I'll do this, I'll stab him or I'll kill him. I don't process things like that. Now, maybe there are people who do. And I'm here to tell you and to remind you that, no, that's not normal at all. That is not normal behavior, nor is it something that any sane person will want to be a part of. So in conclusion, when I sat back and I actually listened to what Phil was saying here and what he was putting out here, it really did anger me in the sense of how dangerous this stuff, what he's saying really is, because it justifies other people who aren't right in the head will hear that and believe that that's some kind of justification. Well, you know what? He's right. We need to go after all these cops. But let me say something to you in conclusion here. Listen, anybody that's talking this whole Black Revolution stuff, let's talk about it, okay? Let me give you a historical perspective real quick on this. Because, see, I don't notice the Negroes that push this kind of stuff, they're usually the main ones that ain't ready for battle. They're not ready for war. They're not. Phil, listen, I respect for what you build and what you've done and all of that. But in talking about this and low key telling people that basically, hey, it's an eye for an eye out here and we're going to have to start moving like that. Phil, with all due respect, you are not prepared for that. You are not built. You are not prepared for that kind of war. I'm not prepared for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it a buck. Black people, we do not have an army. We do not have an army. You can say all this stuff like the guy said early in the beginning. What we going to have to do, we just going to have to kill all white people. Okay, well, how do you propose to do that, sir? How do you propose to do that? You don't have an army. Your main resources comes from the government, the very government that is ran by white people. So if you kill them, how are you going to get your resources? Take a look at the Black Panther movement. It was the same thing, but what happened? They started letting things in. They started infighting, all this stuff. And then, it's like any other story that we're all used to. There's jealousy and all that other stuff, and then it collapses. So we do have a historical precedent of people talking like this, but yet they're not able to execute because they're not willing to take an honest look and say, hey, wait a minute. This sounds good on paper, but in reality, we ain't there yet. We ain't there. And that's true. Let's be honest with this. I could tell you stories about, like, for example, in Philadelphia, I remember years ago, there was something that happened. I forgot what it was. It was major enough to where it got some national attention. I cannot recall at this time exactly what it was about, but it was enough for people that they got really upset. And so black people got together. This was in Philadelphia. I'll never forget it. Black men particularly got together and they met in Deliverance Evangelistic Church right off of Broad Street in Philadelphia. And they met in there with the chief of police, who at that time was a black man. And the church was, because it's a large church, Deliverance Evangelistic Church. It's huge for Philadelphia. And they got together and they said, black men everywhere. And they said, listen, we're going to organize and we're going to put together a police watch, a community watch. We're going to do a community watch. We're going to start walking the streets of North Philadelphia, and we're going to make sure we keep this community safe. Let me tell you something. That probably lasted a month, and then it just phased out. I can't tell you how many times I've seen initiatives like that. We're going to come together, and given a month, it's gone. Given a month. So, first of all, if you're talking doing that level of fighting, you first have to, home base has to be organized. Home base has to be structured. There has to be a code of ethics. There has to be a way of thinking where you weed out the people that aren't of that level, of that type. There has to be a system where you filter those people out. What I'm telling you is that what we call the black community does not have such a system. But yet we love to talk about what we're going to do. There is no system. There is no code of conduct. And what I would argue is that the code of conduct begins at home. That's where it begins. It doesn't begin on the streets. It begins at home. It doesn't begin in holding politicians accountable. It begins in the house. But every time you talk about starting it in the house, people get mad. People start down arrowing your videos like they're doing now. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear, yeah, we're going to get out here, some 50-year-old man up here. Yeah, we're going to have to get out there and we're going to have to show these white people something that we ain't playing no more. Okay, what you going to do with your 6-shooter? They really scared of us. That's what it is. They really scared. They're not scared. Trust me. Nobody's scared of you. Nobody's scared. Trust me. And nobody's intimidated. They're not. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help you get out this delusion. Nobody's scared of you and nobody's intimidated like that. They're not. Because you know why? Because you have given them the secret. Going back to the video I did before, you have given them, you told them what your weakness is. What's your weakness? What's your weakness for a lot of black folks? You call me anything you want, but don't you call me The word with that ends in the ER. You say something, someone calls you that and you just go off because of a word. A word sets you off like that. A word, one word will completely set you off. Where you just gonna, that's it. And you say anything you want, but don't you dare say anything. Please go back and watch the video that I did prior to this. We talked all about that. And psychologically what that's tied to. We talked about that and why it's insane for us to be in 2025 operating like that. And now I sit back on social media, I see how these people out here, talking about non-blacks out here, they know it now. They're like, guess what I'm gonna call you? Guess what I'm gonna call you? And then black people, they get on TikTok and they're like, it's literally like it's fun and games now because they know what will set you off. I'm dealing with something right now. When I tell you it has been a great challenge for me to keep my composure, it has been a great challenge. It takes work to do that. I'm not in denial or anything, but I've been very forceful in what I'm dealing with. When the people I'm talking to, I'm like, no, this is wrong. But I ain't got to yell and scream and all this other stuff. You ain't got to do all of that. And that's what's missing. That's what's missing. And so anyway, listen, don't glorify this stuff. Don't glorify people like Mr. Hinton and his son and all that. Like I said, if anything, hats off to the grandfather who basically is acknowledging, hey, listen, this was a mistake. This was wrong. I didn't see these cops when they were out here. I didn't get any impression that they were just out here just wanting to spray everybody or whatever. He was wrong for being there. In the first place, talking about the son. That was wrong for him to do that. And unfortunately, the son has paid the consequences, and now the father has. I would never glorify a man who chooses to emote like that at the cost of his whole family. You are not a hero, sir. That is not a hero. And him mugging the people like that as he's going out and people, did you see that? Oh, he's telling them. And don't be a grown, dusty man that's girl fanning like that. That's giving some different vibes. It is. That's giving some way different vibes over there. That is somehow impressive because the look of his eyes. You ain't gonna never hear me say that about some other man. But that's what's out here. Okay? There are a lot of good men out here. There are a lot of good black men out here. And I emphasize that all the time. There are many good black men out here who would never do anything like that. There are many great black women out here who are not engaged in that kind of behavior or loud and obnoxious and all that other stuff. They're never that. And every time I get up here and I start talking about either black women or black men, I always got to make it very clear this is not applicable to all black folks. I always make that clear. But we have to start being brave enough. The bravery begins with our own selves. If we can't be brave and tell the truth about what's going on in our own backyard, then you are ill prepared to take on anybody else. We're going to take out all white people. Or if you Hebrew, we're going to take out the Edomites. You ain't hardly prepared. The best y'all can do is dress up in purple, whatever the kind of suits are. I don't know what they wearing. Like that's supposed to be intimidating. I mean, it's not doing anything for anybody. It's not. Maybe in your mind, but it's not. Okay, it's time to wake up and it's time for us to be real. Okay, so anyway, I hope you got something out of this. And so take this. So anytime when these stories pop up, make sure you take a deep breath, step back, get the facts. All right, stay out of these conversations where people are already called to arms and they're calling you to throw all kind of money and stuff in that direction and all of that. Black folks have raised over $500,000 for the Anthony family. $500,000. You know how much that can, I got a brother on here right now building an AI-based school. He could have done a whole lot with that. But instead, it goes to someone who made a very bad choice, and we're supposed to glorify people like that. Man, get the hell out of here with that. Get out of here. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have for you. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys leave your comments below and tell me what you think on this. Thank you for everybody that contributed in the by discussion in the chat. Really appreciate it. You guys take care, and I will see you again in the next video. You guys take care.